Remember we talked about the importance of home economists off the top of the show. Please welcome Emily Richards, recipe developer for Longo's. Also a home economist, which we love and respect, like our Marilyn.
Awesome.
We are going to talk about creating soup. So soup recipe, we like doing it, well, my husband likes doing it for the kids. You can get a lot of vegetables in a soup and make it taste really good.
That's right.
You could do it for grown-ups and for kids.
You can, and you don't have to have 2 pots on the stove.
Right.
I do, but that's because we're on TV, so it's all good. But it's definitely an easy way to bring in vegetables, lots of color and fun, because I love having fun at the table.
It's important, right? It's like you don't have those like food issues.
That's
so this is going to be cauliflower and cheese.
It's cauliflower and cheese, and we're using a Gruyere, so it's got a nice little spike of flavor that the kids will like, because it's not over the top.
Right.
And the adults will love too, so it's a great marriage.
Love that.
So we're going to get started with a little bit of butter, and if you want, you could use oil here. I just like the flavor to get the vegetables a little bit more richness.
All good things start with butter.
And these are huge soup starters. Onions. You have to have some onions in there to get started, as well as garlic. Okay.
Nice.
And what I love about soups is that you can really kind of go into the refrigerator, take what you have, and make a soup. And it's a fabulous way to get dinner on the table.
All those vegetables that are about to go slimy, go take them out, chop them up, put them in a pot.
And then puree them, because no one will ever know.
No one will know.
So once, this is only going to take a few minutes, we're going to add our seasonings, and I'm using some fresh thyme. So I'm using about a tablespoon of fresh thyme, but if you don't have fresh thyme, you can use dried thyme. So I'm using a tablespoon here, but for a dried herb, you're going to use a third less. So you can use a teaspoon.
Okay, see, that's an important measurement to keep in mind.
And if you don't like thyme, this would be really nice with basil, oregano, and Italian seasoning. So kind of go outside of your realm a little bit and see what you have. This is also really nice with curry powder. So if you want to add that spice element to it, you could definitely do that.
And this is basically like an anti-cold recipe, right? Anti-cold, anti-flu.
And you know what? Bump up the garlic in there too, because it's going to really, really help you out. And then I'm going to add just a tablespoon of flour. Okay. So why is the flour in there? Well, because I'm going to be adding cheese later, I don't want it to separate. So I'm adding that little bit of flour in there to keep it all together.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, if there's a gluten allergy, you could use a gluten-free flour or rice flour, and that will do the same thing. It'll help bind everything together.
Okay. So am I stirring okay?
You are doing a beautiful job.
All right,
I could go out and grab a coffee.
Oh, good. I like that. Look at the confidence.
So here we have our cauliflower. So this is a whole head of cauliflower.
Yeah.
About 2 pounds. And if you have a really large one, you'll need about 8 cups. So this is a great place to bring the kids in and let them pull apart the cauliflower.
Yeah, it's the job you don't want to do, but they do.
Exactly.
They will love it.
And my kids call these brains.
Yeah,
they call cauliflower
look like brains.
Exactly. So they always have a good time. So we're going to put all that cauliflower in there.
They'll give you good brains too.
That's true. Oh,
good for the brain, kids.
And then, very simply, we're just going to add some vegetable broth. Okay. So if you have homemade, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Or you can use a sodium-reduced one if you're watching your salt intake.
Yeah.
Whatever you happen to have. You could also use chicken broth if you don't have vegetable broth. Okay.
Very good. Do we just sit and let this simmer now?
You just let that simmer for 20 minutes. Okay. So you cover that up. And I like to cover it because then all the flavor stays in there.
Right.
And the broth won't evaporate. So it will give you a really nice soupy, delicious soup that we have here.
So this sat for a while, it simmered, and this is what we got.
And this is what we have. So the cauliflower is really nice and tender here.
Yeah.
And this can work with any other vegetable, but the cauliflower is really nice because it softens in flavor as it cooks. And it's just like when you roast cauliflower, it brings out that slightly different flavor. Cooking it this way is really nice too. Now you could actually serve it like this and have a chunky style soup, but we're going to puree it because we want to add a little bit of cheese in there. Okay. So I'm just going to use my immersion blender. Okay, and the trick is to definitely keep this in the pot.
Keep it completely submerged.
That's right.
Okay, I have learned the hard way a few times. Sometimes on air, sometimes at home.
You know, the worst though is if you put it in a blender and the top is not on and it explodes. That's when you want
like it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And then who gets to clean it up? You do.
Well, I do.
So nice and smooth, and then we're going to add our Gruyere cheese. So I'll just tuck this over here.
Do you want me to do that? Can I
would
do
love
the
to.
honors?
Can you stir that in?
Just
so
throw
this
it
is just
in.
a cup and a half. Now, as I said, Gruyere is just going to add that nice little zing. But if you love cheddar, use a cheddar.
Right.
If you have a few mixes of cheese that you want to kind of get rid of, add those in there because it's really going to bring out some wonderful flavor and then give it that nice little bit of creamy texture in the soup as well, which is awesome. awesome.
Now, what's cool about this is the soup's done, but you can present it in different ways so that it's great for the grown-ups or for the kids. So you've done it in a bread bowl. I love this idea.
So just take a Kaiser or any type of, large or small bun, hollow it out, and I actually push down the bread inside, pour the soup in, and then, of course, a few little goldfish on top, or some other fun things. Some cooked diced apple would be really nice on top of there, some croutons. These are some snaps, those crisp snap peas that are kind of fun, or even some chow mein noodles. Nice little, crunchy bits in there. And what's awesome about it is once they eat the soup, you get to eat the bread because the bread has absorbed all that soup in there.
You're speaking my language. Okay. I would want to eat the bread first if that was possible.
Well, you could. You might get a little soup on yourself, though, Tracy.
And just, Marilyn, I know you're looking at this and thinking, come on. She knows better. She just did it for TV.
I did.
So you can't have a wet
I totally apologize to Marilyn.
This cups. That's what we learned.
It was just for pretty.
It was very strategic. But this
is
for the adults, and you can do this, Tracy.
Yes.
You can pour both in at one time.
I'm just going to show this since we are out of time.
There you go.
Home economists unite.
Yay!
City1.ca for the recipe. Let's go to break. More coming up.